Thank you for everybody that has got in touch. I'll be dipping in and out of them live chat comments throughout the day. Nicky's been on saying great race, Stan, after his Heat 1 result in Honda Cadet. Into Micromax though, another Cadet class, albeit with a two-stroke engine. Dax Farah starts on pole position with Jack Hutchinson alongside Ella Lucia and Harry Neeson on the second row in front of Drew Davidson, a name that most of you were familiar with from racing in Hondas. He's made that switch over to Micromax. He starts next to Samuel Lowdy on row number 3. Alex Jones and James Roberts are on row 4. Jack Baker and Logan Lauder on row number 5 in front of Daniel Minto and Jos Huschke, another driver switching from Hondas into Micromax. Toby Dukes, the driver of the day from Landau, starts 13th with Aston Brown, the championship leader, alongside Caden Simpson and Logan Jones are on row 8. Hassan Khan and Ellis Child are on row number 9 to complete what is our biggest grid of Micromaxes this season in the Cadet Kart Championship. They're making their way round. And what I am doing is completing the results from the Junior Rotax opening heat of the day to be able to then feed back at the end of the day where all of our drivers are in terms of their championship chances. And Jacob Dukes, of course, has done himself no harm at all in the opening race of the day, taking the victory. His nearest championship rival, Nicholas Ellis, in 10th place, although there is a caveat to that. Ellis not able to practice on Friday or Saturday either. He's got some ribs that were damaged at Landau a month ago in the final there. Went to Wilton Mill a few weeks ago. They didn't help at all, and then he went back and has had a few weeks off for rest. So Nicholas Ellis not at 100%, that's for sure, and 10th place in that opening race of the day. Micromax, though, are away and racing as they head down towards the first corner, 2 and 3 wide. It's going to be a tight one in there as Daniel Minto takes a huge chunk of curb, but also takes 2 places as well, as there's a spin for the number 8 of Ellis Child, I believe, in the first corner, and that car is going very, very slowly. Could potentially have a problem. It could just be that the engine has stalled. Might just need to give that one a little bit of a start. Press the button on the battery and get that kart going. But we'll keep an eye out in terms of the track position where they come through and whether he completes that opening lap. Can't see anybody in the background, so it could potentially be that we have had a retirement already. Over the line they come, though, for the first time, and Dax Farah leads from Harry Neeson, James Robertson, Samuel Lowdy, but there's movements already in the middle of the pack as Baker finds a way past Hutchinson, and that opens the door as well for Toby Dukes to come through, and Logan Lauder as well is going to get to the inside. Hutchinson's going to get hung out. There's a move down the inside by the 18 of Hasnan Khan, and then that means that then he's going to get a little bit of snap oversteer. Got squeezed out, which is always the risk when you go down the inside, particularly on lap 2 of 2 or 3 karts. When you're 2 or 3 wide, you're going to have to turn very, very tight to make that one work. And then wasn't happy that the door was closed, hence why the arm was off the steering wheel. Through they come, though, at the end of the second lap, and James Roberts moves through into second place. Dax Farah continues to lead the way, with Neeson then dropping to 3rd, Lowdy in 4th. Daniel Minto, though, the one to watch. He's been making some good inroads in the early phases of this race, and Toby Dukes is down the inside of Jack Baker into the bottom hairpin and slides through. Gets the job done by moving all the way to the outside and closing the door to stop the run down back into this left-hander. In the background, Aston Brown there in the purple and blue kart. He's the one to watch in terms of the championship. He's leading the way going into this race weekend here at Hooton Park. Farah leads, not quite sure what the indication was there with the arm off the steering wheel. We've got another retirement there. I saw a driver climbing out of a cart and walking away. We'll try and pick out which number that is, because we've got Logan Jones showing as a lap down in the 73, and it is the kart of Jones, the novice driver who would have started towards the tail end of the field. Has retired on lap number 2, as there's a move now from Minto down the inside and forces Laudy out onto the grass, onto the rumble strip, and Daniel Minto is up into 4th place. Laudy having to bounce across the concrete on the outside there. The first bit is reasonably smooth. The bit that we saw Laudy bouncing over, less so, mainly because we could see air underneath his cart, and that has unsettled him a little bit, because through comes Toby Jukes to move up into 5th place as well. So at the moment we've got Roberts now leading the way from Farah. Neeson is going to hand 3rd place over to Daniel Minto as they make the run down. We've had a catch up with Minto's team boss during the paddock walk, and we found out a little bit about him, but also about the team as well. So we'll look out for that one in the lunch break here at Hooton Park. So we've got a morning of race action all the way through to around roughly about 1:30, and then we'll be back at around about 2:10 for the races this afternoon. We've got 3 heats in all of our classes, 5 in Hondas, of which each driver takes part in 3, and a B final in that class as well, before we head towards the finals at the end of the day. Minto is down the inside of Dax Farah. Farah will get a decent run out though, but will be on the outside of that corner as Minto bounced over the rumble strips and got the move done. Can Farah tag on to the back of Daniel Minto and work together to close in on the back of James Roberts? The gap half a second, but we are only at half race distance as Minto runs ever so slightly wide in that final corner. It's a corner that you have to turn in for tight, but then it eases you out as you make your way round the corner, as we see drivers making their way through. That's the 30 of Alex Jones, although he then goes wide and opens the door for Hasnan Khan to come through as well. The only driver that we haven't seen on the out there on track is Ellis Child, and that's because we saw one driver at least on the opening lap rolling off and didn't make it round over the line the first time. That's why we're only showing us 17 runners rather than the 18. Logan Jones already into retirement, showing us 4 laps down there with in 17th place. We saw that kart stationary on what looked to be the outside of the first corner, although no yellow flags. That kart is quite clearly moved into a safe area to allow the racing to proceed. Roberts has opened the gap up as Toby Jukes now goes down the inside of Harry Neeson and then runs all the way to the outside. Textbook overtake then from Jacob Jukes. Doesn't matter that Neeson's got back alongside on the way out of the corner, because you can't hold all the way around the outside of the double apex left here at Hooton Park. So as everybody sort of sorts themselves out, I think we're going to have probably a bit of a lull in the action for a lap or so as everybody sort of feels themselves out. They're all getting into representative positions, although in the background we see Drew Davidson and the 18 of Hasnan Khan getting through past Aston Brown. Davidson did exactly the same as well on Logan Lauder for 11th place. Now Brown is having to defend off from Alex Jones in that run. Those two are the drivers involved in the championship, and Jones tries to get alongside that. We'll have him on the outside. We'll see them slot into view around about now, and it is still Brown in front as they make their way through the chicane. That is flat out in almost all of our classes here at Hooton, as long as it's single file, which is exactly how it should be. If you're side by side, you are going to have to relent. We saw that earlier with Ollie Naylor with that great overtake on Sam Stoner, that he managed to get the move done as the drivers move out there into the pit entrance to sort of widen that opening corner here at Hooton Park. And then it's that other right-hander in the background, the sliding Caden Simpson in the Lando Norris kart, the 77, 13th place for him in the background. Lonely though, nobody to play with unfortunately, as there's a battle going on in front of him and one behind with Ella Lucia and Jos Hushka for 14th and 15th, giving Simpson just a quiet drive to the line, all being well for him. So the top 2 and 3 have got some decent space between them. Dax Farah and Toby Jukes are going to be the ones to watch in 3rd place as Hasnan Khan sets the fastest lap of the race. The only driver thus far to go under 40 seconds in Micro Max, and does so by a 10th and a bit. He's down to 39.894 as there's a move down the inside from Samuel Laudy on Harry Neeson, and Neeson's going to try and get the run again, but as we mentioned, will be on the outside as the door is closed by Samuel Laudy, and that's going to allow Jack Baker and Hasnan Khan, the fastest driver on track, to close right up on the back. This is what we're saying here about Jukes being able to attack Dax Farrer and gets the move done into the final corner. Farrer will have got a better run out of that final corner, being on the outside and being able to open it up. And now Neeson and Loudy as well in the background. There's a little bit of contact between them. Neeson holds on. This is going to allow Loudy to get the run down the inside, I think. And the whole train is coming down the inside of Harry Neeson. Baker is through as well. Khan is going to get alongside. He's going to be on the outside, though. Neeson could hold on here as he gets through. Hasnan Khan into the back of the 17 of Jack Baker. I'm not sure how that's going to do the front fairing any good at all, but we'll find out whether he picks up a penalty post-race for that one, although no harm done in terms of track position between the two of them, although fairly sure a warning will suffice for the 18 as they now slot in, although their battle between now has backed themselves into the rest of the pack. Last lap board is out for your leader, James Roberts. The gap a second to Daniel Minto, and then he's got another 2 seconds back to Jacob Dukes. The battle behind, though, is 8 deep as Hasnan Khan goes down the inside and forces Harry Neeson wide. Neeson, arm off the wheel, not at all happy with that one. Let's see whether Khan can hold on as well as Baker tries to run all the way round the outside. And then in the background, that looks like Drew Davidson and Aston Brown. Out of the final corner, though, comes your race leader, James Roberts, to take victory in Micromax from Daniel Minto and Toby Dukes, the top 3. In the background, they're side by side over the line. Neeson is still fuming at that one. That's dropped him all the way down into 9th place. Farrer in 4th, Loudy, Baker, Khan, Jones, Neeson and Davidson getting into the top 10 in his first race in CKC in Micromax, in front of Aston Brown, Logan Lauder, Caden Simpson, Ella Lucia, Josh Hushka and Jack Hutchinson.